What's up, everybody? It's me, Donkey, doing a very special comparison to a very special comic book. Check it out. Gerald McBoing Boing. Based on the original 1950 animated short film of the same name by United Productions of America, aka UPA Productions. The same studio that also made Mr. Magoo, Jolly Frolics, Gay Purry, the 1960s Dick Tracy cartoon, and Ham and Hattie. Okay, so maybe you never heard of Ham and Hattie, but it's pretty good. Anyway, this comic book story here appeared in the very first issue of Gerald McBoing Boing and the nearsighted Mr. Magoo, published by Western Publishing in August 1952. And as with the short, it's written by Dr. Seuss, and P.D. Eastman, the artist, worked on this cartoon at UPA as well before going on to make his own books like Are You My Mother and Go Dog Go. And since Gerald McBoing Boing is owned by Comcast on behalf of Universal Pictures, I'll be hosting this one. Now, you may have noticed many differences between the comic book version and the animated short version. For example, look at the title over there. Notice anything different about it? That's right, it's red! It wasn't tan like in the short's title card. And look at this one! Is that a hand with a pen drawing Gerald McBoing Boing himself? That wasn't in the original short! It actually began like this.
This is the story of Gerald McCloy and the strange thing that happened to that little boy.
Yep, something like that. Of course, if the hand was in there, it would have been live action or a cutout photograph or something like that. Then again, it would have been a little awkward. Oh, and the script is exactly the same as the animated short, except they added a couple new lines in there, which I will explain later in the video. But moving right along, here's a scene of Gerald celebrating his second birthday with his mommy and daddy. And his mommy is giving him a sweet birthday cake. Look at that over there. But that wasn't in the short either. They all showed him and his family sitting around in the living room like this.
They say it all started when Gerald was 2.
And look at his parents blowing out the candles. Aw, that's so sweet. I don't know why they didn't do that in the short in the first place though. And notice the normal colors on them like any old comic book back in the day. In the short, their colors alternate depending on the mood and scene they're in. I wish they'd color it in like that. Oh, here's a silly one. Gerald bursting out his boing boing for the first time. Oh, and notice those squiggly, curvy lines over there? Sort of reminds me of the Golden Book of the same name, doesn't it? Okay, let's turn the page. A little help. Okay, here we go. This looks the same, except in the last panel, instead of Dad saying boing boing, it was Gerald himself who said it. Look at that. And speaking of which, here's another difference. Okay. Everything is almost the same. But here, Gerald surprises the doctor and parents with his boing boings while the doctor is talking. Even while in the cartoon he does that before the doctor even speaks. And the doctor says he goes boing boing instead of Gerald doing the boing boing, which he does in here. The rest is pretty much the same. Oh, this scene looks very familiar. Do you remember when we saw that in the beginning of the cartoon?
That's the age kids start talking. At least most of them do.
Yep, that's where it came from. Of course, the scene where the dialogue is from goes like this.
Then months passed, and Gerald got louder and louder.
Notice that Gerald wasn't riding the scooter like he does in the short. And the way his dad lands is pretty different too. In the comic, he lands on the floor. But in the actual cartoon, he actually lands on the spring of the chair like this.
He'll drive us both mad with this terrible stuff.
Oh, and that wasn't in the film either. Since when did they ever own a pet bird? Now, this looks exactly the same. Well, except the dialogue, which is added in this adaption. Okay, the letter is the same as before. Gerald says cuckoo like he does in the film. He says a goosey honk in this comic, and I bet he says that in the Golden Book too. But in the cartoon he doesn't just say that. So what did he say instead? You guessed it. Boing. Onto the playground. Notice how in this panel the girls are far away in the background? You can hardly see them. Of course, this sort of adds some dimension here, like you see here. Okay, this is the same. But the sounds Gerald makes in this one have changed too. Okay, look. For example, he says, BAM! Like a cannon. Well, in the short, he says, beep beep like a car. And he squeaks here instead of boing boing like in the cartoon. Those sounds are also in the Golden Book version as well. At least they kept the clang 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 noise. Okay, this is the same here. Okay, now this is the climatic part. First of all, the narration dialogue on this page and the next weren't spoken at all. Yep, not spoken at all. It was just silent. Oh, and listen to the way Gerald sounded to get his dad's attention. But he roared like a lion. While in the actual film, he sounded just like this. And then his father said, "Leave me alone," which actually didn't happen in the cartoon. And say, they left out the scenes of him climbing the stairs and packing up his stuff. Those were very interesting scenes. I guess maybe they don't have enough space to put it there or something. Okay, moving along. It was always snowing when Gerald climbed out the window. But it wasn't in the next 2 pages. In the cartoon, it actually snows throughout the whole scene. And take a look at this over there. Take a look. As Gerald leaped from the lowest one, he heard a voice yell, "Stop!" In midair, poor young Gerald stood, not finishing his hop. Of course, in the actual cartoon, only the stop is heard. This looks the same right here. Yep. And notice the ancient is using a triangle instead of the xylophone in the short. Oh, okay. Those are the same over here. Okay, now it's the radio scene. As you can see, there aren't any musicians playing between Gerald and the radio actors. And, oh, and there are pictures that accompany Gerald's sounds that don't actually show up in the cartoon at all. Okay, I almost got this. Okay, now we're at the last page of the comic. Aside from all those cowboy pictures, everything looks the same here. And, that's it. This has been a special comparison video with me, Donkey. See you next time.